everyone, welcome to the 80s and 90s Retro Collector. The sun is shining, we are here in Kelvedon Hatch because this gentleman is about to go on set and shoot a short film.
Hey Retroheads!
The hardest working voiceover artist, stand-up comedian, actor, presenter, the list goes on and on that I know. Would you like to say a few words to your fans, sir?
Hello there, people of the 80s and 90s Retro Collector channel. It is great to be seeing you again. Thanks for all your support so far, and there's more coming. I have loads of random retro stuff around my house that I am very much looking forward to sharing with you all.
Excellent stuff. Now, we love to see all this guy's stuff. He's the same age as me. We both grew up in the 80s and 90s, and we're into a lot of the same stuff, and we have lots of chats about it, and we love sharing it with you guys. Thank you for your wonderful comments. I went through some earlier when I was waiting for a friend, and this chap has responded to many of yours, so check it out. I'm going to respond to some just as soon as I get back home. But yeah, so we're going to wish this man luck because he's got a good shoot today, and you know, check him out on IMDb. He's got a very impressive resume because, like I say, he works 25 hours out of a 24-hour day. Well done you, sir.
Thank you. And once I find out where I get that extra hour from, I will pass that tip on to all of you.
Have a great day, guys. Enjoy the show, and we will catch you soon, won't we, sir?
We will indeed. See you then.
Bye-bye.
Welcome, this is Brawling Badger. A big shout out to Swaley for allowing me once again to appear on the show. Everyone keeps asking me, what do you collect, Badger? And I collect mainly Alien and Predator toys, Venom toys, and some Marvel toys here and there. But today I'm going to show you a little bit of some of my board game collection. There's only a few here, but I thought why not spice it up and show you guys. One of my favourites is the Friday the 13th card game, where you literally have to go around the small board where it's day and night, trying to avoid Jason, collecting different things, enabling yourself to find the stuff and evade Jason and get to the police and escape. Very similar to the survival horror game that came out on the PlayStation 4, actually, just in a card game format. You go around the little board collecting things, trying to avoid Jason. If you get a Jason in your hand with your cards, you have to quickly pass it along to somebody else in order to survive the night. Lovely little game, very frantic, very spooky, very similar to the Scream game that came out a couple of years after. But out of the two, I'd say I really like both, but Scream has the edge because it has an app and things like that to go with it and is a bit easier. But both are great games, so do check those out. So if you're a horror fan, Friday the 13th and the Scream game, very similar, but the Scream game gets the edge because it's got an app and voiceovers and things like that, and it's a bit more sort of immersive. But yeah, I like both of these. I have the Scream game with me as well, but I just couldn't find it. Now, Frustration. Now, there is an absolute classic. I've played this against Mr. Nick before, another friend of the show. It's a great little game. Basically, if you've never played Frustration before, it's an absolute classic. You press the magnetic dice in the middle. You have 4 little tokens, and you have to get round the board. If you jump over somebody else's token, you kill them off, and they have to go back to the start. And obviously the winner is the first person to get all 4 tokens home. That was one of my favourites as a kid. Spent hours and hours playing that, along with drafts and chess and things like that. Now, believe it or not, this is a current favourite. Myself, Badger Jr., Viking, Kraken Media, and even LKP play this quite a bit. And this is Connect 4. This is one of my favourites. Involves a lot of weird and wonderful strategies that you would not believe. And believe me, you think it's a silly kids game, you could be here for hours trying to outwit your opponent. Connect 4 has a lot more legs to it than you imagine. And trust me, it will keep you amused for quite a while because there's been one or two rage quits here and there, and trust me, it's hilarious seeing all the little bits of counters go everywhere when someone realises you've beat them to the Connect 4. Quick story for you. It's quite hilarious actually. One night me and my ex were playing Scrabble, and I literally was able to pick a very good word. I put it in her place on the board, and literally she went, "Stupid kids game, I'm never playing this again," and literally yeeted the board up, so all the board pieces went everywhere. So, you know, Scrabble can be a dangerous game. I also have quite a lot of other board games that I'd like to show you, and I'll probably show you that in another episode. Don't forget to subscribe to Brawling Badger Productions. We've got new films out every week and new vlogs and videos out every week as well. Please do check out One Misstep, which is a comedy about a man in a lift having a farting accident. We also have Ballamoron. If you've not seen that, please do check that out. Essex FBI investigates the Forest of Ash, and my personal favourite lately, Essex FBI Spook Chat. And of course, we've got loads of other films that are out on the channel, so please do check the films playlist. Thank you very much for watching, and that's once again Brawling Badger Productions, and I am the Badger. And a big shout out to Swaley for allowing us on the channel. We'll see you next time. Thank you very much for the collab, guys. Enjoy the rest of the show. See you soon. Bye.
Right, you have a great time, and I shall catch you soon. If you need a ride back, call me, because I'm around the corner, okay?
You're watching 80s and 90s Retro Collector.
You are now watching 80s and 90s Retro Collectors.
You're watching 80s and 90s Retro Collectors.
You're watching 80s and 90s Retro Collector.
You're watching the 80s and 90s Retro Collector.
You're watching 80s and 90s Retro Collector.
You are watching the 80s and 90s Retro Collector.
You're watching the 80s and 90s Retro Collector.
You are watching the 80s and 90s Retro Collector.
Thank you.
Boom.
Sweet.
You're watching the 80s and 90s Retro Collector.
Subscribe to 80s and 90s Retro Collector. Boom.
We're now watching 80s and 90s Retro Collector.
You're watching the 80s and 90s Retro Collector. So come through.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Daniel Egan, and I'm an actor, and I was in Star Wars A Rogue One Story. I played two characters, a Death Trooper and a Partisan. And I'd like to say hello to all my fans, and especially 80s and 90s Retro Collector. Thank you.
You're watching the 80s and 90s Retro Collector.
80s and 90s Retro Collector. Not just a channel about action figures, but a channel where action figures.
Hello, it's me, Brawling Badger, star of Ballamoron, Drained and Essex FBI Investigates, and you are watching the 80s and 90s Retro Collector. Have fun, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and enjoy the video.
Hello everybody, you are watching the 80s and 90s Retro Collector. Make sure you subscribe. Whoa!
You're watching the 80s and 90s Retro Collector. Come on!
Yo, what it do? It's your boy Jay Keys. I'm here with my brother Swaley. Welcome to the 80s and 90s Retro Collector. You know what it is, guys. Go check out his page, yeah? He's killing it right now. Let's go!
Welcome to the 80s and 90s Retro Collector.
Welcome to the 80s and 90s Retro Collector.
Only one small is no. They just come in a variety pack. Okay.
That's what this is though. That's what this is to have a dog with this young dog. That's your safety.
Hello, mate, all right? Yeah, be nice when the sun's back out, brother, wouldn't it? Oh, mate, earn it, mate.
How am I getting resource? Do we like sharing? So you open at 5 in the morning, so you normally set up 5 in the morning, isn't it? So what's the best time to come, like 7? What time is most of the school?
It gets busy. You get a lot of people after the school run. They come over.
Oh, 9 o'clock.
So you get a few people early doors, and then after it's a bit later started.
So 9 o'clock is the best time.
It's a nice picture. Sorry, mate. I'll show my wife. Airport.
No, you can't. No.
That's an old game, isn't it?
It goes back a bit.
It does.
They still produce it, huh?
Yeah, do they? What's...
Yeah, believe it or not.
Oh dear, what you got on that, mate?
15.
15. That there is a collector's item, that. That's lovely and very good condition as well.
Nice thing.
Is it all complete?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 15. Oh.
It's like 50 quid online.
Yeah.
What the hell?
And it's all there as well?
Yeah, it's all there.
Yeah. Okay, I'll have a think about that.
Keys there, cars are there.
Yeah.
It is one tiny screw.
Right.
The drive, I'll show you.
Okay.
See, in there. One tiny screw in there.
Right, got you. But apart from that, it looks like it's never been used in the instructions.
Keys, instructions, everything.
Look at that. What year would that have been released? Is there a year on there?
No, there's no year on it.
Right, right.
As I say, it's still being produced.
Yeah. I'm just going to do a check online on that, and then I'll be back.
Yeah, okay, right.
So thanks, matey. Right.
Mama?
Thank you, madam. Thank you. That's what I told somebody about 2 hours, 3 hours ago when the person was asking me. Yeah, no, that's not.
143. Machine, how much is it? Sorry? Machine. The machine, 25. 25.
How much are them pops, mate? Cool.
These are, without the box, are £3.
Yes. Okay, my friend. Ah, yeah.
These are very complicated.
I'll follow you then, yeah? पानी दे दो बस।
There's a 5 mile an hour speed.
Put that in there. Con lei. Victoria, yeah. Oh, see someone's looking for that.
मैंने एक लंबा टेबल चाहिए लंबा टेबल
Hello, how are you, sir?
Okay, mate, you?
Straight away. A business card for you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, and then I painted a mirror. They want a mirror.
Oh, okay. What do you play in?
Granny.
Okay, you like your games, don't you? Let's see that. Oh. And a one, and a two, and a boom. Yeah. What do you reckon, Mason? A boom, and a one, and a two, and a boom.
You are watching the 80s and 90s Retro Collector.
Thank you.
Boom.
You're watching the 80s and 90s Retro Collector.
Hey Retro Heads, it's Nick here, and my favourite thing to collect in the 80s and 90s was music. And this is going to be the first of a few upcoming delves into my music collection. There's some great memories that we had here, and we're going to start off with the 5 albums from the 90s which had a big impact on me. Not the best 5 albums of the 90s full stop. We don't do that kind of rage bait here on this channel. But I am going to show you 5 albums in no particular order which had a really big impact on me in the 90s. I would love to know yours as well, so do leave us your era-defining albums from the 90s, 80s, or any era of your choice in the comments. First up is the Blue Tones and Expecting to Fly. This features their top 3 hit Slight Return, which is still what they're best known for. And aside from that song, there's just tons of really good tracks on here about about your relationship with other people, with yourself, with the world around you. And I bought this when I was 15 years old, and I honestly think no other album spoke to me in quite the same way that this did. Britpop was very much still a thing, maybe not in its prime, but very much still a thing. And I think, and in amongst it all was this one of the most genuinely thoughtful of the Britpop albums that did well in that era. Next up is The Sneaker Pimps and Becoming X. This album features their top 10 hit Six Underground. And the thing I really like about this album is it's a good amalgamation. It's primarily a techno album, and an electronica album, but it uses a lot of guitar and it's very song orientated as well. So and this was released originally in '96, then re-released in 1997, and to me it was a really good amalgamation of techno and guitar music. And towards the end of the 90s, those two genres were like very much at loggerheads with each other. You were either one or the other. And this album was just a good example of how you could merge the two together and create some really good music. That continues with the next couple of albums that I'm going to talk about, because album 3 is Spiders by Space. Space were like my favourite band when I was like 15, 16, 17. And this album, it's probably a bit of an acquired taste. It's certainly an unusual album in many ways. But then the thing with it is it just, one of the best things about Space was that they didn't really follow any trends. They very much went and did their own thing. Their best known song that elevated them into the big time was Female of the Species, which was done in a very sort of like 50s crooner style, but also with some very modern beat underneath it. And they experimented with that even more on their second album. But this one, they had lots of, they were primarily known as an indie band, but they also had lots of, there was electronic influences. The last track on this album is a big full-on techno track. But they also had bits of jazz and even a bit of hip hop. Tommy Scott, the lead singer, would rap occasionally. And yeah, just so much stuff going on, maybe a little too much at times, but also it never really lost its track of its musical style as well. So yeah, very unique, and I would say probably worth checking out. Well, just probably, definitely. And the next up, I've got one obscure one and one very well known one. The next one that I'm going to recommend you is Luscious Jackson and Fever In, Fever Out. They were 4 young ladies from New York. They were, I think, discovered, they was called like label mates with the Beastie Boys. I think the Beastie Boys might have signed them. And this album is, again, it's lots of interesting uses. It's very sort of like hip hop, guitar, and pop. Lots of stuff going on here. And as someone who is very into R&B and swing beat in the mid 90s and early 90s as well, and there's a few elements of that on here as well, with the singing and yeah, with all the influences going on, and yeah, I really enjoyed this album and would thoroughly recommend that you go check out Luscious Jackson as well. They released, I think, 3 albums in the 90s and then another one about a decade ago. And yeah, just really good fun to listen to. The final one I have, and you're probably by this point wondering why hasn't he mentioned this yet, Nevermind by Nirvana. Now, I was 10 when this album came out. It completely passed me by. I think we were too busy. I think my big sister's Kylie records were still blaring out of our house when I was 10, so this completely passed me by at the time. But when I got it when I was 18 years old, I was definitely more than ready for it, and I recognised a bunch of the tracks already, and just the energy, aggression, but also it's also really thoughtful as well. Lyrically, it's a very thoughtful album, and I think that was something that helped it along as well. It was really really very much a sort of it wasn't just yelling into a microphone. It was just a lot going on here. And even though the band wore their influences on their sleeves and were very aware of, and were very open about what music had influenced them, it still felt something fresh and all its own, even when I got it in the late 90s. So yes, definitely worth a listen at least once. So yes, that's 5 albums that had a big impact on teenage me in the 90s. Do stay tuned, as I'll be doing more ventures into my music collection very soon.